From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One more corner pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! What is up, everybody? It is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. It is Season 5 with Clark and Hajavandi. Get you some. Coming up on today's show, we get to all the leftover stuff from the Renegade Express and just talk about whatever we want, because that's what we do on this podcast. Wake Up Warchant brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill in Tallahassee, Florida. Website is cptallybar.com, but get the phone out, camera app, QR code, right to the website, straight to the limo. It's Monday. Build your own burger. High-quality Angus beef in that burger. Pick what you want. Your daily lunch specials, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminole sports source. Thumbs up. But even more than that, Corey, we like the thumbs up. We're going to ask for a small favor. Subscribe. Subscribe to the website. It's only $1 American for an entire year. We don't know how much longer it's going to last. I know we keep saying that. It's like a broken record, like we're putting the okie doke on you. But I'm telling you, one of these days we're going to be like, it's done, over, kibosh. Get involved now. We're going to beat Duquesne. We're going to beat LSU, start off 2-0. You don't want to join after that because we'll see your join date. And if your join date is like September 4th, 2022, we're going to know that you were a fan later,
bandwagon.
Corey. We don't
You're
like those kind of people,
yeah.
right?
And you get your own separate message boards.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
So-
where you can all be fans of, I don't know, the Patriots, the Yankees, Duke basketball. You know what I mean? But we know who the hardcore Florida State fans are. They joined August 30th, right? That's
right.
September 1st, somewhere around there. They joined that. Because no, I don't know we're going to get a bunch of people are going to watch the Duquesne game and get all excited. But once they beat LSU by 3 touchdowns,
Let's go.
then they're going to be coming out of the woodwork. And that's when we're going to have to separate you.
Yeah.
I hate to do it, but we will.
Apparently, John Emery, their very highly heralded running back who missed all of last season because of an academic suspension, apparently is going to be suspended the first 2 games of this upcoming season, according to Brody Miller of The Athletic. This stems from last year's academic suspension. What a bummer. Guy gets suspended for an entire year for grades and then gets 2 games tacked on top of it for this upcoming season. So apparently they're going to maybe try to appeal that. I think it's an NCAA kind of thing. It seems like gleaning from what I've been able to read. So that helps. Noah Cain from Penn State, an all right season. Corey Bradford, I want to say. Maybe not Corey, but his last name is Bradford. It's the other running back. So things looking good for the Noles, Corey. Things looking good for the Noles. We'll take it however we can.
I also saw that same reporter for The Athletic had, and I don't know if there are other reporters that did, but one of their cornerbacks is out for the year. He's suspended for the year. They announced on Sunday as well.
Look at that. Everything lining up.
Don't
for
know if the kid was
Mike.
a starter or not. Don't know if he was a starter or not, but he's suspended for the year as well.
There we go. Little things, man. The little things become big things. So everything fall into place for old Mike. Everything fall in place for old Mike. Everybody's got bad luck. That's pretty good luck right there. So
Well, and the reason I don't know if the kid that I knew about John Emery. I know who he was, but the cornerback I'm not sure of. Like I'm not familiar with, and that's mainly Aslan because I haven't looked at LSU yet. I'm not looking ahead. I'm not looking past Duquesne. I'm focused on Duquesne this week. Don't really care about LSU. Next week is when we get into the LSU talk. Am I right?
that's right. It is game week, though. We did make it, everybody. We're going to have to look back, though, on all the questions from the Renegade Express we didn't get to. But yet, Ray Darius Jones, I haven't even heard his name mentioned at all during camp. So maybe not as big of a coup for the Noles on that one. But still, turmoil in Baton Rouge. What's going on, Brian Kelly? Earn your keep, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Run amok.
I was going to say there might be a crack in the armor, man.
A fissure in there. Yeah.
It just might divide the whole team.
All right, Corey, let's get to the Renegade Express questions, I guess, that we didn't get to. Or is there anything that you want to talk about that as percolating in your brain here? Oh, yeah, what about journalist spies? Are we going to be able to smoke everybody out at practice this week, you think, to help out the Noles so they don't get secrets leaked out to the Dukes and even maybe the Tigers?
Yeah, so somebody on our message board, was it Thursday or Friday? I don't remember, posted, like, what does Norvell, how does he vet the journalists that are there covering practice to make sure that
they're loyal?
We wouldn't sell secrets to opposing teams if we see trick plays or injuries or depth chart stuff. We wouldn't sell our secrets to them. And the answer really is there's no real, You can't vet that much. Like, unless you took our electronics, which you can't, you don't know if I'm selling stuff to LSU. You know what I mean? You don't. And luckily, we've had so many people subscribe in the last month to our website that I haven't had to. I mean, last year, that's all I did. That's how we got by. It was Ray Pereira, Shane, James B., and then I sold everything to Notre Dame. Jacksonville State was where I made the most money because they knew it was going to be a big win for them. So I told them, like, look, I've been watching them in practice, and if you got 8 or 9 seconds left, they're still playing a normal defense. It's like a a cover 2, 4-3. Like so go ahead and take a shot. They might don't have a safety back there. So, but this year, I haven't done it. I've tried to be a normal reporter out there, not selling any secrets. But I thought it was interesting because, obviously the message board geniuses on Twitter. I mean, that's a real name of an account, a Twitter account, which has a bunch of posts from a bunch of different message boards, that are very humorous, like this one was. But it's not a crazy question.
It is. I can't believe you
only
gave it credence.
Because nobody else does it. Like, okay, so I would ask you this: if LSU opened up everything to their to the media, and they got to watch every single practice, every minute of every practice, do you think it would be crazy if, say, Lane Kiffin, and say there was an Ole Miss grad that was on the beat, on the LSU beat, that not Lane Kiffin because he wouldn't, but an Ole Miss booster, reached out to that guy and was like, look, I'll give you $12,000 if you give me 5 secrets that I can take to Lane Kiffin. And if they all come true, if they all actually happen, I'll give you another $12,000 after the fact. Ooh. You're telling me that a journalist that makes what most sports writers make wouldn't be a little tempted?
I know
you know what I mean?
saying.
Like, it's not crazy. Like, secrets have been sold for less.
I just don't know how you can pass it along and make it beneficial and worth it. Like, even like the whole WikiLeaks thing where Wake Forest had their playbook leaked. They still won football games,
That was the dude, but that was the color guy, right? That was the color analyst, which is nuts. What a story. That should be an untold thing, like the thing they've done with Manti, the thing that's on Netflix now. There should be a WikiLeaks one because that's incredible.
It's just if you told Adam Fuller, listen, Kayshon Boutte, if he lines up in the if he motions out from the boundary into the slot, he's either going to he'll either do a curl, he'll run maybe a drag. If it's you can say if it's going to be more than 3rd and 5, he likes to run a drag. If it's going to be more than 5 yards, he likes to run to the sticks and then run it out. Like, you're going to communicate. How do you communicate that to your team in the midst of all the chaos and hectic stuff? And it won't be just like 2 things. I mean, there's all sorts of different routes he could run. You got to communicate that to Omarion Cooper.
Well,
Omarion Cooper's got to remember, hey man, it's 3rd and 7. I'm on Boutte. It's 3rd and 7. He loves to go to the corner on this route. Like the amount of the machinations that have to go into retaining and then relaying everything. I would
think it'd be more like if you see this formation on a punt, understand a fake is coming. If you see this player on the field going in motion, understand it's some sort of trick play coming. I think it would be something like that. Like, look, man, Danny Ford would have paid a lot of money in hindsight to know the punt Ruski was coming. Yeah. Like, he even knew that they had been practicing a trick play somehow. But imagine if he knew exactly, like, this is what they're going to do. This is what it looks like. So your team will not be confused. Look for the ball to be snapped directly to the up back. The punter's going to fake. Don't even look at him. The ball's going straight to the up back. So anyway, obviously nobody's approached us. They don't think we're stealing things because we're not. As I explained in the post before I made fun of it, all of our livelihoods really kind of hinge on Florida State. I mean, we want Florida State to be good, even if it was just completely selfish. And you know what I mean? Like, completely selfish just for the good of our website. Mm-hmm. We would want Florida State to be good because it's more members, it's more interest, better bowl games, period, all of that. That's why I wouldn't see. Obviously, we wouldn't do it. Plus, Gene pays well. We wouldn't risk our jobs because we like our jobs. Also, Tom went to Florida State, Jeff went to Florida State, you went to Florida State, Gene went to Florida State. You're not going to sell out your alma mater. Ira's been here for 20-something years. Yeah. He has tons of friends in the administration and just at the school. I've been here for 15, and I grew up a Florida State fan, so we're not the ones you need to worry about. But if it's like, you can't tell me that it wouldn't be crazy. Like, if Jimbo, one of the reasons Jimbo wouldn't want people to watch his practices at A&M is because he's scared there's going to be secrets given to Arkansas or Auburn or Alabama.
No.
Remember Saban? They wouldn't let the students that lived in the apartments, like they tried to block them out from watching practice. They're Alabama students. The practice field, they overlooked the practice field. I think it was something like that. Or maybe the practice field got hurt by a hurricane or tornado. But there was I remember that, or something was being built where they tried to keep the Alabama students from going out on their own balconies that they pay for because football practice was happening outside. They're just paranoid. So it's odd that Norvell isn't. I love it, but it's odd that Norvell isn't because I think most coaches would be like that dude on the message board, being like, well, how do we know they're not selling our trick plays to our opponents? Yeah. But we're not, I promise. I can't speak for the other sites. In fact, I'm pretty sure they are. So if you want to give your money to those other sites that sell secrets to Jacksonville State, and who else did they sell to last year? Louisville, probably?
Oh, yeah. I
mean, that's why those Louisville guys were running free.
And the Gators, the interim staff thought they could beat the Noles. They'd be able to hold on to full-time jobs. So they emptied out. They backed up the Brinks truck to these other competing sites.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly right. So, but I did also, since I brought it up, have you watched the Manti Te'o thing?
I have not. No, so I don't have Netflix, but I can, I find ways to watch the programming. But it's a Netflix original, apparently.
Yeah, well, I think it might have been something that aired on ESPN, I thought, but Netflix now has it. I can't remember for sure, but it's really remarkable, and it's much more detailed than I ever thought. I mean, we all know the story that his girlfriend was made up. She didn't exist. He did get catfished. He wasn't in on it. There are parts where you feel legitimately bad for him because he thought a person that was very important to him, that he'd had apparently a lot of conversations with and a lot of exchanges with over text, had passed away. My issue is they only touch on it a little bit in the first part. Is he kept asking her, can we FaceTime? Let's FaceTime. And she kept saying, okay, I'll call. Oh, you're not showing up. Oh, I can't see you. Oh, I've got a bad signal. And then they just go past that.
Okay. Like,
man, if I'm in a relationship with somebody for 14 months and every time I try to FaceTime, they say something's wrong, I'm like, okay, I don't believe you are who you are. There's something going on here. Also, I'm not telling the world you're my girlfriend. Right. Because we haven't even met in person. We haven't locked eyes. We haven't held hands or, go down the list of things that might happen after that. Okay. We haven't done any of that. We have literally just talked on the phone. You're not my girlfriend. I can't call you my girlfriend. I don't even know that you truly exist.
Corey,
but he did make a good point.
It's game week, Corey.
Sorry,
Noles,
we're good.
Come on,
we're good. We're good. I just got on my Manti Te'o kick. I've been waiting 10 years, Aslan. 10 years to talk about it, and I finally got a chance.
All right, let's get back to it. Grumpy BK, wake up first. Congrats on all your new subscribers. I'll be lucky if we make it down this thread this far for this week's segment. You're right, Grumpy. We did not. 27. That was about the threshold we got to. I asked this back in early spring. I've been waiting for weeks to follow up. Don't let me down, Aslan. Now that Identity Week is behind us and we are officially in game prep mode, gentlemen, who are the vocal and emotional leaders of this football team? We know Jared Verse likes to talk trash, but who are the leaders and what are their leadership styles? Fabian Lovett usually breaks them down, I feel like, after they get done doing their stretch. Like they do this whole clapping thing. They all kind of run and congregate and huddle up, and he's usually got the hand in the middle, and he's like, all right, family on three, family on me. I think they say family. Or whatever they break on. He's usually that guy. But, we've seen multiple players. We saw Robert Cooper in Jacksonville, like, coaching up Antavius Woody during a water break. Like, we've seen this. I saw Dennis Briggs coaching up an offensive lineman when we were doing interviews at Jacksonville, like behind us. So, I mean, there's all sorts of different things going on. You got guys actually doing like hands-on instruction after practice. The other day, I saw one of the long snappers helping out two of the offensive linemen working on snaps after practice. I won't say their names because I shouldn't have seen it, but I was walking by this part of the practice field that I was able to kind of sneak a peek. So, but no, there's not, I don't know who's like that alpha, like just everyone's going to rally to him. Maybe we'll get an idea of it with Robert Cooper when we host In the Coop with Robert Cooper tonight at 7:30, debut show. We can ask him maybe if there's a kind of an emotional or vocal leader. I'd say maybe Fabian on the defense. Offensively, Dylan Gibbons started this whole, I remember last year they would all line up the offensive linemen before they'd get down to their stance, and he would turn to Maurice and be like, dap me up. And he would turn to, Robert Scott, like, all right, dap me up. And now whoever's playing center, like, does that now. Like, they'll make sure everybody, like, pounds each other's fist, daps up before they do the snap. So maybe Dylan Gibbons is that guy on offense. But I don't have firm names, but I know you're trying to get out of us, Grumpy BK. We'll try and get something for you. Yeah,
I think it's a good question, though, because I don't either. I would say Jamie Robinson is somebody I would certainly expect to be a vocal leader as well. But that is an important element of any team, really any organization, but certainly a football team. Is you want those things you were talking about are great moments in leadership and in selflessness and being a good teammate. I don't know if they're like rally around me leadership.
Yeah.
There's small things, and those all matter. But I was thinking about only because I was watching the highlights, just I was getting myself ready. I'm getting football ready. I was watching the highlights of the Clemson-Florida State game from 2013. And everybody remembers the locker room scene of Jameis talking to the team. But what many people don't realize is he stood up to talk. There were 3 other people that were talking. And I know Telvin was one, and I know Timmy Jernigan was one. Yep. And I don't know who the other one was. But those 3 guys were all talking to the team as well. It was just a player. The coaches weren't even in there. It was just the players amongst themselves. And then Jameis got up and said, we ain't living here without a victory. He was a natural-born leader, obviously.
Without a victory.
But those other guys were too, man. Yeah. They did rally around Telvin, and they did rally around Jernigan and LaMarcus. And I wonder who strikes you as those guys. Like just watching, I think Deloach could be one, maybe. But I don't think we know until we see how they interact in a game. I just think that matters more than everybody's rah-rah in August. You haven't lost the game yet. You've got dreams of an undefeated season. You haven't faced any real adversity. I know they make it adverse for them, but they haven't faced any real adversity. So I do wonder when we watch Duquesne, and especially when we watch the LSU, who are the guys that are yelling at all the guys? Not in a positive way. That's whether it's a lineman, because those linemen, man, are they not? In the 2013 linemen weren't real fiery leaders anyway. They were, Trey Jackson, Jose Matias. They weren't. They were not very talkative guys. Brian Stork wouldn't talk to anyone. So they weren't real demonstrative either. So I do wonder who on that offense, and even really who on the defense. I know Fabian Lovett will be a guy. Yeah. Is there anybody else? Because you can always use more than one.
Right. No, I think Fabian's a guy on the defense because he's been quite a terror out there. So I think he's going to be a lead by example guy, and then he'll build equity by making plays that he'll be able to kind of hold other guys accountable. Akeem Dent coached up a dude on defense on Friday. There was an incomplete pass. He kind of stood over the receiver. And, Adam Fuller, runs over to him, what are you doing, man? You can't do that. And, Akeem Dent runs over to the guy, too, and starts pointing at his helmet. He's like, think, man, think. So, Akeem Dent, who, maybe 2019 was a little bit maligned by some of his play and some of his body language, even he's a guy that's kind of grown up here of late and has matured. But, yeah, I don't know who that guy that they'll rally to. But I guess the fact that we are dropping so many guys' names that are doing things that kind of stand out and they're taking accountability and holding guys accountable, maybe that's an encouraging sign. I
think Burst can definitely be that guy. He certainly has a big enough personality for it. Yeah. Let's just see how it translates to Division I college football games on Saturdays. Let's just see how he handles it. I love the attitude and the mindset, but let's see if it's always a positive, because people that are like that can be mercurial or even a bit polarizing, I'd say. If things aren't going bad, will he be? And I'm not saying I've seen this. I haven't at all. He is a big personality that all he does is I think he gets fired up with his teammates and he talks trash to the offense. That's his role. He's done it very well. But if things aren't going well, will he be one that sucks kind of the energy out of the team if he's not having a good game? Because those big personalities can sometimes work both ways. And I'm not saying I expect that. In fact, I don't. He's a really bright kid, and he's very talented. So hopefully it just translates into greatness. But it's a personality that, I can't predict what kind of personality it's going to be when he knows 2 million people are watching on TV or 6 million people and 70,000 people are in the stadium. And people are expecting a lot. It's in Albany. Yeah. So how is that going to manifest itself? That's what we got to wait and see.
XDQ004, it's Derek. Wake up! Best FSU nickname for a player of any sport. Support the great sponsors and go Noles. Pooh Bear?
Yeah, Pooh Bear's a good... man, that's a good one.
Prime time.
Shade Tree is great.
But who else called him Shade Tree outside of us, But Pooh Bear went by Pooh Bear. People called Deion Prime.
Well, Kermit was a good one.
His name is really Kermit. Oh,
No, it's not. His
it's
name
Levante.
is like
It's
Levante. Yeah, come on, buddy.
Pokey.
Yeah, man. Those shade trees all better. And I don't want to get like I don't even want to talk about like the nickname that like they grew up with because they watched a cartoon when they were 2. That doesn't count. I like Primetime's a good one, a great one actually. That's still he's called Coach Prime.
Dedrick Dodge.
Dedrick Dodge. That's a great one because it's the way he looked as an older person and the way he played. That's why I thought Shade Tree was cool because he got it as a freshman at Florida State because that's where he went to sit during water breaks was under a shade tree. Plus, it's a cool name. It's like a big, thick.
I know, but who called? Like, does Mickey call him Shade or does Mickey calls him Marvin? Like, does Derek Brooks call him Shade or is he like Marvin? I
don't know. But I think he was known as Shade Tree. Like people knew him. That was his nickname was Shade Tree.
Yeah. I like it. No, I like it. But I'm saying
Von Stryker, maybe Von Stryker for Bjorn Werner. Okay. There's a lot of good ones on football. I can't. Buster. See, that's what I'm saying. Buster shouldn't count. His name's Gerald, but he's been known as Buster since he was 2, so that shouldn't count. So I don't know, man. That's a good one. Like Oil Can Boyd.
Yeah.
That's a great nickname, man. Back in the day when they used to have great nicknames. And I can't think of any off the top of my head right now for Florida State baseball. What about basketball? Any for basketball? None that I think of, right?
No.
That's what I'm doing this year. I'm going to come up with a nickname for one of the basketball players. Okay. Magic Johnson got his name from a sports writer in Michigan when he was a junior in high school. Hey, you're the Magic Man. I'm going to start calling you the Magic Man. And then there he was 1 year later signing his name, Magic Johnson. I'm going to have that same impact on one of the Florida State players this year. I just got to figure out who.
Okay, I like it. Random_John. If FSU now has a trio of wide receivers with which to throw and a cohesive offensive line, what do you feel Jordan Travis has to do this season for you both to feel that Jordan Travis has had a successful season? What ultimately do you want to see from him this year that you have not seen in previous years? Everyone subscribe to Warchant, drink to Luna, play bingo at CP, and enjoy a jug of Zax sauce at Zaxby's. Go Noles.
Bar none is a good one too.
Yeah.
For William Floyd. And he got that because his agent said he was the best fullback in the draft, bar none. So he got that after Florida State, but still, that's a great nickname. Yeah. Man, just more consistent passing numbers. That you can't win consistently in 2022, in my opinion, by averaging 170, 180 yards a game passing, which is, I think, probably what Jordan Travis averaged last year on the whole. Now, some of it wasn't his fault in the sense that he was, what was he? He completed like his last 11 passes against North Carolina, but he only threw 13.
Right.
You've got to get to a point where you trust him to throw the ball a little bit more. And I just, they're not going to be the air raid, but that's just what I want to see. I want to see consistently good performances with at least 25 attempts, 25 to 30 attempts. In games you win. Like he threw a lot against Florida, but he had to because they were down 17 in the fourth quarter. In games you win, I want to see you be able to ride his arm and turn a 6-point lead into a 13-point lead. Or you're nursing a 10-point lead, you don't just run into the middle of the line and punt. Or use his legs to try to extend the drive. You can actually count on him to move the ball with his right arm, which hopefully he's there, man. Yeah, they got him some weapons for sure.
Stay healthy for all 12 games.
Yeah.
There we go.
Good one. Best answer.
And I want to see some, tighter window throws. I just feel like so much and then, obviously you can only do so much scheming guys wide open. But I feel like so many of his throws, and credit to him for making the right read, credit to the coaching staff for making the right combination of routes. But I feel like there was, other than like the Andrew Parchment throw, I feel like so many of the big chunk throws for him were just kind of like, all right, man, they ran a rub, they got a good wheel route release, and no one picked up the guy coming out of the backfield. Like those were the big chunk plays for them offensively throwing the ball. Like you got a target in Johnny Wilson. You've got a guy with some really reliable hands in Micah Pittman. Make some kind of a little bit 50-50-ish throws, but do it with conviction and put it where they can get it and the opposing team can't get it. And just be confident in those sort of throws. So
and think about like most of his big passes last year were just down the sideline. Ja'Kai, both of the big ones he had to Ja'Kai.
Throw to Pokey against Florida was down the sideline.
Yeah. The one against North Carolina where he threw 2 touchdowns in the corner of the end zone. Then he threw the one where he rolled with his right and threw. I mean, it's a nice throw, but it's kind of it's throwing back against the defense, and he just led them well, and it was a touchdown. I would like to see more middle of the field stuff. Middle of the field where it's a 12-yard pass, but you hit him in a way that maybe if he breaks one tackle, it's a 60-yard touchdown. Yeah. Those kind of plays. That's all that stuff that good quarterbacks do. And I certainly don't think Jordan is a bad quarterback, but the next step in his evolution is to prove he can do that, and that would be enormous.
The clutch shot, the biggest hits. It's time for the Zaxby's Indescribably Good
Player of the Week.
You heard the man. It's a Zaxby's Indescribably Good Player of the Week. We'll be doing actual players doing stuff in the present, but since we are Jameis Winston days away, let's reflect on the great number 5, J-Boo, and his all-time great performances. It's a shame that he peaked, but that first game was just absolutely marvelous, everybody. September 2nd, 2013, Heinz Field, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Little redshirt freshman goes out there, totes and throws the pill 27 times. It only hit the ground twice. Wasn't even his fault the 2 times. He goes 25 of 27 for 356, 4 touchdowns in the air, and even ran one in as well. And it was just like, wow, that was awesome. Can he do it again? And he would. He'd throw for 4 more touchdowns, like 3 more times that season en route to a Heisman. So that first game versus Pitt, that's the best one for Jameis, in my opinion. Corey, you think? What do you go?
Yeah, I agree with you, but we couldn't both choose it. It definitely turned out it wasn't a fluke. He was pretty good, it turned out. I'm going to go with a little bit off the beaten path. I'm going to go with the last championship that Florida State football won, which was the 2014 ACC championship against Georgia Tech. Kind of forgotten to history a little bit because of what happened to Oregon the next time they played, but they won 37-35. Our man had an interception problem that year, but he didn't in this game. He was 21 of 30 for 309 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also had a 5-yard run. By the way, Dalvin Cook had 177 yards in that game on 31 carries, plus another 5 catches for 43. Hey, look, Dalvin, we're sorry. It wasn't 4 days. If it was 4 days away, we would have gone with you, buddy. Sorry, maybe next year. But yeah, Dalvin was great in that game. But yeah, Jameis 21 of 30 for 309 and 3. And again, that was a good Georgia Tech team. People were like, oh, Florida State limped in again. Georgia Tech was number 11 in the country and then went and beat Mississippi State in the Orange Bowl and finished like number 7 in the country. So that was one of the last great wins Florida State football had. And Jameis was awesome in that game. And it's just been kind of forgotten, but not anymore because Corey Clark brought it back up.
Honorable mention, really stout, tricky trap game against Maryland. He went 23 of 32 for 393 and 5 tutties.
Yeah, that's when I knew, okay, maybe he's for real. Maybe this kid's pretty good.
There we go. That 2013 game against Pittsburgh and the last championship Florida State won on the gridiron, the 2014 ACC title game against Georgia Tech. Our Zaxby's Indescribably Good Performances of the Week from the Player of the Week because it's 5 days away. It's Jameis Winston. Eat Zaxby's. Do it. Miami Nole. FSU is going to go 11-1, at worst 10-2. The only games I see us losing are NC State and Louisville. The soul of Robert Klecker Bowden will bring us a lot of wins this year. He knows we deserve it. Prove me wrong.
Well, what was he doing last year?
Oh, Corey, come on. That was...
Well, no, I mean, didn't he pass away before the season last year?
You're right.
I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong I'm not saying absolutely they won't go 11-1 or 10-2. I just think that, I feel like if Bobby's soul had something to do with it, he would have helped last year too as well. You could cut that out if you want, Aslan. I don't care. But I can't imagine that's going to happen. They are not good enough. Only teams with a bunch of NFL dudes in the Power 5 go 11-1.
Or,
it's
hey,
just
man,
really hard to do.
1998, Tennessee had no business being in the national title game. 2002, Ohio State had no business. Maybe we can be those guys.
But 2002, Ohio State had a first-round pick at receiver, a first-round pick at DB.
Hey, man, Johnny Wilson. What if Johnny Wilson goes out there and catches 75 for 1,212,
Then I'm on board. 10-2, baby. 10-2.
Armchair Osceola, wake up. I am the 31st poster on the Renegade Express within only 3 hours of it going up. What does that say about the interest in FSU this season compared to last year? Well, I think it proves that most everybody that's subscribed to On3 came to On3 because of this podcast. That's what
Tell Gene. Everybody tell Gene when you subscribe.
Yeah, referral. All right, question for you, gentlemen. Yeah, it's good though, for real. That's it's super cool that everybody's getting involved. Either new subscribers or maybe folks finally feel the urge, the need to hop on. So.
And I watched just a bit, really like literally 6 minutes because it was right before we were starting to record the Tom and Ira's Sunday Smash on Sunday night, and there were like 485 people watching that on a Sunday night at like 7:20. Dinner time, man. Yeah, people are ramped up, man. People are very excited. Let's hope they can keep people excited through the end of September at least.
Yeah, we can only do so much. We can bring the eyeballs to the program, but they got to start winning football games. So let's start winning football games. Question, gentlemen: if we feel good about our team heading into September 4th, and LSU feels good about their team heading into September 4th, does that mean the coaches will be the deciding factor? At what point does Money Mike's deft play calling and scheming become a value driver for us? Go Noles, keep up the good work. Yeah, I started thinking about that, when I started thinking about Matt House and him been their defensive coordinator at LSU and his NFL background. That might be a little of a tricky matchup for Tony, but again, it's Mike's offense. Mike's calling the plays. Mike Denbrock, him and Brian Kelly have been around forever. Did pretty well at Cincinnati, but had a really good quarterback. Could he outwit Adam Fuller? Yeah, I don't know. Will it come down to, if it comes down to coaching, will it be a play calling thing or will it just be like stones? Like who's going to go for it on fourth down? Who's going to call a fake play? I don't know. Coaches being the deciding factor in this game, Corey. How much credence you give it that possibility?
I mean, a lot because it's but I do that every week just about because it's, I do think these two teams are pretty even. I told you I didn't want to talk about LSU, but I'll do it this one last time. I'm all about Duquesne. By the way, did you know Duquesne's quarterback is the brother of? Do you remember London Paranthis? He was the point guard for Virginia.
Oh yeah,
5 or 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
I think he's the one that smelled his fingers after hitting a big three in the Elite Eight game against Syracuse. I'm not going to explain what he did, but you can go Google it or YouTube it. And it's pretty gross. I don't know. I hate that that's a celebration now. But anyway, and then they end up losing anyway. Like he had a big three to put him up like 14 in the second half, and then Syracuse came back and beat him and got to the Final Four. I think that was him. But anyway, yeah, his brother's the starting quarterback. It's pretty interesting, right?
Look at that. Look at that. Interesting.
I did a little research. But yeah, I think when it comes to stuff like this, man, like, again, yes, it could be who goes for it on fourth down. Or it could be, who identified their players better 3 years ago. That can't really happen with Brian Kelly necessarily because it's his first year. No. But are you still playing a guy on the offensive line or the defensive line that can't compete on 4th and 2? Is that still a problem? Because that's also coaching, right? Like you can say it's execution, but it's all part of coaching. It's all under the big umbrella of coaching. And do you have a game plan that when they take something away, you're able to respond to what they take away because they were going to try to? So do you have plays off your plays? Do you have a way to adjust? That's all coaching too. Whether you decide to punt on 4th and 2 or go for it, I think all of it comes down to coaching. Well, not all of it. Look, man, if you throw a couple 50-50 balls and Johnny Wilson makes plays, what did Brian Kelly do wrong? Or vice versa, if the Boutte kid makes a play. You didn't. If you're in position and the kid just makes a great play, what did you do wrong? Nothing.
Bracket him. Bracket those guys. Should have bracketed them. Yeah,
sure, you could. But you know what I mean? Like there's so much under the umbrella of coaching that I would think all of it comes down to coaching. I'll
say this: it's the second half, man. If Florida State gets outscored in the second half and loses that game, that's another data point of really big contests and the second half offense not being at its best.
Well, right. That's what I was going to say. If it's the second half offense that struggles again, then yes, that there's something that's not happening with your adjustments. But again, new offensive coordinator, so we'll see what it looks like.
Jangalang, wake up, fools. Is there any doubt that Louisville is the biggest game of Mike Norvell's tenure here at Florida State? He's either gunning for a 3-0 start, which would create an enormous amount of excitement and momentum, or he's trying to avoid a 1-2 start and another disappointing September for this fan base, which won't be good on any front, especially recruiting. That game will be huge. True.
Yeah, but then, it was always what Bowden said. The big ones are the ones you lose. When they said he couldn't win the big one, he's like, yeah, it's weird how, I only get told that when I lose one of the games. But, say he does beat Louisville to go 2-1 and then comes back and loses to Boston College. Well, then that was the biggest game of his career. You know what I mean? So it's a fluid situation with Mike Norvell right now. Literally every every game he coaches in is big. Really, really big. Especially the ACC ones. He's got to find a way to get to at least the top half of the Atlantic, for crying out loud. Especially when he's hit the portal and he's got some pretty good players. So I would say, yeah, sure. I'm not dismissing it. It will be an enormous game. But if they lose that game and then win their next 4, you aren't going to worry. You're not going to remember the Louisville game. So that's all. That's my whole point. But yes, going into it, it will feel enormous.
Yeah, man. If they're 2-0 going into ACC play, that's there'll be a lot of eyeballs on that. And it's a Friday night game. Everybody's watching it, so you really can make a statement nationally. They'll be talking about it throughout game day on Saturday. Like, oh, last night, Florida State showing that they're back possibly, guys. What do you think about this? 35-27 win in Louisville last night. I love what Mike Norvell's doing. Yeah, so that could happen. That could be a good thing. But, yeah, to Corey's point, win that game, lose to Boston College, and who really cares?
It's weird, and I'm not picking on you because I agree with the sentiment, and I know Ira and Jeff and I talk about it a lot, is like the impact that College Game Day, like if they're talking about your program in a positive light, what we think that does for momentum or the stature of your program.
Right.
It's just funny that you never hear like, and if you play well, Bradshaw and old JB and Howie Long, they might be talking about you the next week, and all of a sudden you feel like it doesn't matter at all at the NFL level. Like nobody cares. But for what are they saying on NFL Today? What's Boomer saying?
Yeah.
But with college football, so many people talk about the impact that College Game Day has. Or what's the name of the show that Urban gets to be a part of again?
Big Noon Kickoff.
The old Big Noon Kickoff show, man. How exciting that Urban's back.
Yeah. But then look, Herbie made Florida State like one of his best teams of week 1. He was, I love what Mike Norvell's doing. I love the way they play. They've cleaned up so many things.
Yeah, it's good. I'm not good. Like I said, I'm not dismissing it. It's important and it matters. I mean, I do think in college football, for some reason, it does matter. Perception does matter.
Well, it's the recruiting thing, right?
Yeah, that helps. But again, I say that NIL helps recruiting a lot too.
Mayday, Noel. Wake up. I'm Kyle from Pearson, Florida, hometown to the greatest switch-hitting third baseman in Major League Baseball history, Larry Chipper Jones.
Amen.
Hey,
what about that for a nickname? Do you know why he's called Chipper?
He was always smiling? Or he wasn't smiling?
Because he looked so much like his dad in his mannerisms, they said he was a chip off the old block.
Oh, okay.
So everybody just started calling him Chipper when he was a kid.
Nice.
What do you think about that one?
I like it, but it's not a Florida State
But I still don't
nickname.
think it counts, right? No, I know. I was just thinking of just nicknames in general, buddy. We don't have to keep it.
Why
I can't talk about
count?
Chipper. I can't talk about Manti. No, I just meant the nicknames that come from like what you do on the sports field.
Like Cadillac Williams. Like he's such
yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Those
it's
are
not because
tough.
The
Sultan of Swing. Yeah.
There you go. Now you're getting in the Splendid Splinter.
Yeah.
Back when they cared about nicknames.
I actually saw him play Little League. Just a cool highlight in life. Please excuse the picture. That is my lady. I love this woman. There's apparently a huge sign when you arrive in Pearson. I think Pearson, Florida. Yeah, Pearson, Florida. It says, welcome to Pearson. Welcome to Pearson, the fern capital of the world. But above it is like a 20-foot by 10-foot billboard-looking thing. It says, from Pearson to Cooperstown. It all started here. Chipper Jones, and has a photo of him as a Brave. Beside a photo of him in his Little League jersey from Pearson. So, cool.
And then it was in high school. He went to Bowles.
Yeah.
And left all those people behind.
Yeah. All right, my question. After a long offseason, on August 26th, 2022, you go to bed fearfully optimistic about our beloved Noles 2022 football season. You wake up on October 2nd, 2022, and you find out Florida State is 5-0 after beating Wake Forest 48-13. Using statistics, what went right? Love the show. New Buck member. Glad I am. Thanks to both of you. People lay off Aslan. He loves Florida State. Just wants to see this team win.
There you go, Aslan.
How do we use stats?
Like what would have had to gone so right for them to be 5-0?
I mean, I think Jordan Travis just like somewhat video game numbers.
I think you have. So if you're 5-0, I think you're plus 11 in turnovers.
Oh, jeez, that's a
or
big...
plus 9, somewhere from 9 to 11 in turnovers.
Okay.
And then I think you've had
at least 3 300-yard passing games.
Well, or how about 3 500 yards of offense games?
Okay.
Like if you throw for
Okay.
260 and run for 250.
I mean, I'm talking about Jordan Travis though. Specifically.
Well, I don't know. You think he has to I guess he's throwing better. I don't know if we can. Yeah,
I'm saying if he's got 3 300-yard passing games in the first 5. I mean, I think that's what it would maybe add up to, or 4. Because I mean, maybe Duquesne he won't do it.
No, he won't.
You know, but like LSU,
I don't know if it's a great
sign
sign if my man is throwing for 300. To me, that just tells you you're behind. They don't want to throw the ball that much. That's why I wanted to do total offense. Like I think if you get 500 yards,
but not
if you're
from
averaging
him,
500
from one
yards
player,
a game,
from your quarterback.
No, team.
Oh, all right.
Team wise, yeah. Well, if Jordan if he's averaging 500 yards a game, buddy,
Heisman.
we're booking our tickets to. I keep forgetting where the championship game is, for some reason. But yeah, those will be
Phoenix.
Probably.
I'll check it. Actually,
I'll say turnover margin somewhere hovering between 9 and 11 on the positive, and then averaging right around 500 yards of offense per game.
Okay.
So to say that it's unlikely, I guess, is another way to put it. But those would be the two things that I think could happen. If that happens, you probably are 5-0.
sQuinn67, wake up. LFG, looking forward to the season and the climb. Really enjoyed the coverage last week. Thanks for keeping us informed. Question, only including the Bowden era through last year, what was the most overmatched game we played in our season opener? Did we know that going into the game? Go Noles, sQuinn67, class of 93.
Only including what again?
Just Bowden era through 2021. What was the most overmatched team we played in our season opener?
It's got to be I feel like Jimbo played one.
Texas State? Like in 15 we played Texas State?
Is that what it was?
Yeah, that was week 1, I think, before Willie came to town.
I mean, Kansas in 93 was pretty obviously overmatched. That was 42-0. It could have been 60-0. Man, yeah. That's a good question.
You want to look that one up? All right,
I'll look up Nole fan.
National Title Games in Los Angeles this season.
Oh, there you go. Okay, good. That's right. I'm not going to forget that again, everyone.
Yeah. And it's in Houston next year, again. Ray Pereira. So get ready for us. Yeah, I'll go with I think Texas. I think we opened up with Texas State one year. Not my mistake, in 2015. But Corey will figure that out. And it's still sQuinn67. Go Noles, class of 93, sQuinn67. Shout out. SR5, wake up. By what week would you think that we possibly sneak into the top 25? Also, should we be concerned about Miami when we know that Mario Cristobal's coaching gets spotty in big games? I mean, yeah, Utah put it on them twice last year. That kind of hurt some of their feelings out there in Eugene.
Man, I'll tell you what, they opened up with Duke 2 years in a row. And one year, in 95, they beat them 70-26. So that's pretty, that's close.
That's overwhelming.
Yeah. And that was 1995. And the next year, they beat them 44-7. Let's see. You answer that question, the one that's going on. I'm still looking this up.
I mean, I think they're going to be really good defensively. I don't think the world of him, but I respect Kevin Steele. I saw what he did at Auburn. I know he's been out of coaching for a year, but for all the foibles that Gus Malzahn was going through at Auburn, like that defense was pretty rock solid. And they didn't have a lot of blue chip guys. They had like that Byron Cowart guy, but he'd never even really played. They just found dudes, and he just always maximizes what he gets, Kevin Steele. And Mario's not going to meddle in the defensive happenings. Now, offensively, yeah, I mean, I could see him maybe telling Josh Gaddis take the air out of the ball, pound the ball, and maybe they fumble it, maybe they'll get some first downs, and they found themselves in a ball game. But I haven't watched enough of his games to be like, wow, what is this guy doing again? I mean, obviously what happened against Utah last year put a little bit of a dark cloud over him, but I can't recall him doing anything like too boneheaded in a game to like make it be like, oh, it's all right. Mario chokes in big games. But I can't wait to see him do it, though. That'd be great. As for what week we could possibly sneak into the top 25, I think if you go 2-0, if you beat LSU, national audience, Sunday. I mean, there's a couple other big games going on that weekend, but I think everybody watching you on Sunday, if you go out and win that game in a fairly impressive manner, I wouldn't be surprised to see Florida State maybe sneak in there 24th.
Okay. Yeah, I would say my answer would be if they beat – I think if they beat LSU and Louisville. Is that what you said? I think if they're 3-0.
Yeah. All right, I said 2-0, but 3-0 for sure.
I think if they're 3-0, I don't think they're going to get any credit. If they beat LSU, I don't think they're going to get a ton of credit for it. People will be like, they weren't very good last year. It's his first year. It was their first game. Yeah. But if they go then and play well on another nationally televised game, I know they're all nationally televised, folks, but like the only game in town, Friday night, prime time, if they do that again in front of the whole country again and win and are 3-0, there'll be some serious, like, real momentum behind the program, and they would get ranked in that spot. And it might be higher than 24. We might be looking at 19. I think I got the answer, by the way.
Okay.
In 2012, they opened up with Murray State and beat them 69-3.
The Racers.
But
was it a running clock in that one?
I don't know. That was the Savannah State game, which was the next one. They were up 55. Man, so they opened up 2012 with Murray State. They won 69-3. And then Savannah State, the game was called with 8:59 left in the third quarter. They were up 55-0. And then the next game, so they won their first two games. Let me do so 124-3. And then they played Wake Forest after that and won that game 52-0. Wow, I don't remember. So they outscored their first three opponents in 2012 176-3.
Huh.
That's crazy. Anyway, but I still think the answer, Aslan, to answer the actual question, I think it was 08. They played Western Carolina and beat them 69-0.
Okay.
I think that's got to go down. I think that's got to go down as the most overmatched season opener. And I do not think Duquesne is anywhere close to that category. I think Duquesne's more of like a, you hope 45-17 type, 45-14 type. Just because, again, that coach has been there for a long time. It's an established program. They don't have any athletes, any great ones, but it's an established program that runs a system and has been doing it for a long time.
VCal 5, wake up from L.A., the place where phony accents are the tools of the trade for the actors, not the college football coaches. Right. So Los Angeles, not Louisiana, L.A. Question, with the NCAA as toothless as a newborn, what's preventing college football teams from holding scrimmages with other programs a la the NFL?
Well, I guess
logistics?
There isn't, is there?
I don't think so, but maybe just logistics, like, Yeah, but then again, it's like,
what do
like
you get out
Dolphins,
of it? I don't.
Well, you get a little edge, you get a little irritability, if you will, as Mike Norvell would say. You get a little more irritable.
The NFL plays how many preseason games? 3?
I think so. Yeah.
Is it still 4?
No, it's definitely not 4. I know that.
It used to be. So now they cut it to 3, and they have 17 regular season games.
Yeah.
So on top of that, you've still got to practice with another team for a week, and just talk. I don't know why they do it. Like, you get 20 times a year to go be irritable. Like, I feel like the first 3 weeks should just be practice with your own team.
And especially because there's so much parity in the NFL. In college, it would be cool because, like, all right, like, FSU can practice against, let's say, Auburn. And then like, dang, like, we're kind of nose to nose with Auburn right now. I don't feel good about that. Or, like, we just dominated Auburn. We're in a really good – I think that's – you get more of a barometer probably where you're at if you practice against another college program. But, yeah, if you're the Bucs and you're practicing against the Dolphins, I don't know really what you're getting. But, maybe it's just to, get everybody – like going to Jacksonville, get everybody out of the normal routine, get them used to what it's
instead of going to Jacksonville, you could have gone to Boca and practiced against that team for 2 days.
Yeah. What up,
Willie would do that, right?
Yeah. Shady Knoll 25. Oh, we already talked to him. He just commented on somebody's he commented on a thread, on a post. Shout out to LaShawn McCoy fan.
Good job.
Seminole Leg 13. Seminole G. How about that? Seminole G 13. Wake up. What's up, fellas? Been listening to the podcast for a couple of years now. Now officially a member. Who can beat $1 for all of this? I don't know, man. But I'm glad you said it.
Tell your friends, too.
Come on, everybody.
Tell your flipping friends.
Please. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, home of the great DeMarcus Walker, and I graduated with Javon whims. My question is, do we see any crossing routes against the middle, or rather, do we see any crossing routes across the middle more often this year? Jameis was great, but Jameis knew that getting the ball to your playmakers only 15 yards out and letting your receiver make a play after was better than a consistent deep or highly contested ball. Thanks for all the great content. My morning commute would not be the same.
Who wrote this? Seminole G?
Seminole G13.
Yeah, so that's kind of the point I made when we were talking about Travis, whenever that was, 10 minutes ago. You don't remember seeing a lot of those plays where it's like a quick slant or it's a crossing route where you hit he's got to step on the corner, or he's in between the safety and the linebacker. You hit him right in stride, and he's able to take a 17-yard crossing route and turn it into a 50-yard big play down the middle of the field. You just haven't seen like I said, it feels like all his big plays have been outside the hashes. And the great quarterbacks live between the hashes, or can anyway. So, I mean, trust me, they throw them in practice. They run them in practice. They look good a lot of the time in practice. But again, that's the next step. That's what you want to see, because there are so many yards in the middle of the field if you've got a quarterback that can see it quickly, because they don't stay open for long. Like it's a matter of physics, right? Like, or just, I guess just spatial awareness. If somebody's running across the field from the right to the left, well, there are people on the right side of the defense and the left side of the defense. You're only going to find a small crease for a finite amount of time before you're running back into other people on the defense. But if you can hit them in that was I probably should have just not even said what I just said, but whatever. Live with me, folks.
You're really jumping into the details they don't want us to talk about, but go. I'm here for it.
What, that a receiver might run from the right side of the field to the left?
You're talking about they're doing a lot of stuff over the middle. You're seeing a lot of it every day.
Well, I mean, I think every route has somebody going over the middle. It's just a matter of if the quarterback throws it to them. They don't all run to the right side. I mean, I guess you could. You just flood it over there. Yeah.
Right.
So that's why that's so special to guys that can live in the middle of the field, because they're not open for very long. But when they are open and you hit them on time, they can turn into monster game-changing plays. So let's hope we see more of that. Let's just hope we see more of that.
Hey, here's a stranger. Here's Daryl, Thomasville, North Carolina. Wake up, Nole Nation. We are coming down the home stretch. Aslan and Corey, hope you're doing great. I listen to you all every day. I enjoy the content you two give us each and every day. Here's my hypothetical and a question. Coach Bowden, 5-6 year one. Second year, he went 10-2. Norvell it's technically not he's all right. He's technically in his second year because of COVID, having to get rid of all the junk in the locker room. Coach Norvell has brought in better talent from the portal as well, recruiting better talent this past season. This team has put in hard work on and off the field. Coach Norvell seems more upbeat than he did last year with the way his team is practicing and scrimmaging. So do you think this team can pull a second-year Bowden team and win 10 games if things go in that direction, rather? I believe we can. I've listened to Coach Norvell speak. I've listened to our players, and I've watched the videos that you all have put out. And I've listened to all that every one of Warchant Media has said, and I believe this team has some attitude, and they are working for a purpose this season. Just my opinion. Go Noles. Support our sponsors. Hit the like button, and God bless. You want to look at it? Do you have that schedule in front of you? Can you pull up the 1980 schedule?
No, it's 77.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'll look that up.
I mean, I just don't know, like, the amount of favor. I don't know if it'd be calling favorable, like, fortune that would have to go Florida State's way to go 10-2. Just still think there's too many. Like, the Clemson game is going to be pretty heads up. I think the Miami game is going to be pretty heads up. Who knows about the Florida game? I like that it's in Tallahassee. I mean, like, the Boston College game, the Georgia Tech game, the Duquesne game, those are like the only games I feel quite confident about. And the rest of them, it's like, man, I don't know. Like, I could see us losing. So I don't know if they're going to go 90% in what we would deem maybe 50-50, 55-45 games. That's just a lot of favorable breaks. It could happen.
But if you want to go to so I was looking at the 76 one first. So Bowden started out his first year going 0-3, lost a horrible game to Miami, 47-0 down there. He lost his opener 21-12 to Memphis State. But Memphis State was good. They were 8-3. Miami finished that year 3-8, and Bowden went down there and lost 47-0. And then went and played number 4 Oklahoma and only lost 24-9, and then won 5 of their last 8 games, including the last 3. So they finished kind of like Florida State last year. They finished on a nice streak, although he won the last game. It wasn't against Florida because they played Florida in the middle of the season then. But he won his last 3 games. The thing that's funny, though, is they lost to Florida by a touchdown in 76. They lost to Auburn by 12. They lost to Clemson by 3. Then they beat Southern Miss by 3. They beat North Texas by 1. And they beat Virginia Tech by a touchdown on like a punt return at the end of the game. So they started winning close games at the end. They lost some close games, but they started to believe because they weren't getting blown off the field. They were competing with these teams. And then they started winning. And then they won. They went 10-2 the next year. But even these games, it's a 14-0. It's 25-17. It's 18-10. It's 23-21. So they won some close games too. And what I would say is, looking at the records of the teams they beat, man, there were only 2 teams out of the 12 they played that went to a bowl. And you had 6-6, 2-9, 3-8, 4-7, 5-4-2, 6-5, 9-2. North Texas State was 9-2 and didn't go to a bowl. San Diego State was 10-1 and didn't go to a bowl and beat Florida State. College football was a lot different back then, Aslan. They only had like 7 bowls, so I shouldn't use that as a gauge. But you look at these teams they played; it was a lot of 6-6. Couple with 5-4-2. There was a 9-2, 6-5. I think that's kind of what the schedule you're looking at here, right? Like when you go down that list, who do you think other than Clemson is going to have double-digit wins? I think I might legitimately be surprised if anybody on their schedule other than Clemson has 10 wins.
Right. Yeah.
But there's going to be a lot of 6 wins to 9 wins. So you're playing teams that are very evenly matched. And yes, to answer the question, it could happen. You just have to you're going to have to win most of your close games, and you have to have some serious injury luck and turnover luck. If you get a bit hit by the rash of injuries, or you turn the ball over too much, or don't create turnovers, you got no chance to get to 9 or 10 wins. You have to turn the ball over. You have to turn teams over. You have to takeaways, as I like to call them, and then you have to not turn the ball over and get lucky with injuries. But yeah, I mean, it happened once at Florida State. You can have turnarounds. You can go from a 5 or 6 win team to a New Year's Day team. It does happen quite a bit, and maybe this is the year.
Maybe it's this. Maybe he's the guy. Maybe this is the place. But just I mean, it didn't work for Scott Frost in Nebraska. It didn't work for Tom Herman in Texas. Like year 2, like some sort of big jump, but obviously a little bit of a different situation here. We're hoping.
Yeah, but you definitely feel like they're poised to do better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if they limp to another losing record,
I'll
think
be
both
shocked.
of you
If
and
they
I
don't
will
listen,
be very surprised.
I know if they don't go to a bowl game, I will be shocked. Like
he'll be gone.
I am not Mike Norvell cheerleader that has been established, but it's not the progress isn't happening as fast as I would like it to happen, which, okay. I think everybody wants it to happen faster, but I think a couple of you are more practical about it. Some of you are just more, stop complaining, Aslan. But whatever. It's fine. I wish we'd see a little bit quicker. But to go from 5-7, where again, there's maybe 2 or 3 games that could have gone there where they should have been maybe a 7-8 win team. They could have maybe ended up only being a 4-win team. Or maybe a 3-win team if something's going to go their way too. So I think on the whole, on the average, it worked out to be a 5-7 team. So they're going to be better this year. And they've got guys like Johnny Wilson. Again, we think the people on the defensive line that have returned, Robert Cooper, Fabian Lovett being back, that's a huge deal. So, they will be better. But like 10 wins, again, man, look at the top 25.
That would be an incredible run of luck, right?
That's a really big jump. That's a really big jump.
It would be an incredible run of luck. They just have to you'd have to get pretty darn lucky because you are not going to overwhelm many of these teams on your schedule, if any. No. Your just talent isn't at that place yet. You can hang with them, and you can be better than them, which you should be in at least half these games. You should have more talent, but most of it you're going to have equal talent. And to go 10 and to win a coin toss 10 times out of 12 by calling heads, that's a little bit of luck. So, but hey, you know what? You also make your own luck. I've always said that. Remember?
Listen, that day that I didn't watch practice that apparently the offense went berserk, like if that's who they are, could they be a 10-win team? Like I've seen flashes, but I've never seen I didn't see that day. It happened though. It's a real thing. Everybody else saw it. But like for me, I just feel like if you're going to be a 10-win team, there needs to be just 3 or 4 days where you're just like, man, one side of the football is just doing something pretty special. Listen, the defense is one days, but not necessarily because they're just going out there and creating absolute havoc. There's been just some, things on the offense that have malfunctioned. But like I haven't, to I think to be a 10-win team, man, you probably have to have like some, numerous days in your preseason camp where guys are killing it. But then you think about Clemson last year. That quarterback never looked good. Never looked good.
No, but they
that
had
defense
maybe the best defense Georgia, the second best defense in the country.
Yeah. All right. We're nearing the completion of this. Gator Kirk.
Hey, I had an idea about this, by the way. What do you think about this? Because this is untenable, Aslan. We can't. Our whole show is answering questions. Well, which I guess we could just do it and just have it like throughout the week, a Renegade Express that we just get to as the week goes on.
Well, no, we're just not going to leave it open for 6 hours. We're going to post it on Wednesday
that's crazy.
For 3 hours.
You're going to leave it out. That's not. I mean, not everybody's on Warchant all the time. They should get a chance.
Well, we're going to let them know what time of day it is. It's going to be on Wednesdays from 9 a.m. to noon.
But still, 45 questions is a lot to answer in 2 days. What I was going to say is maybe we pick out what you think are like the 12 or 15 best, and we answer those.
No, because you're a subscriber, and they'd be like, "What? My question's not good enough."
You're not letting me finish. You're not letting.
Can
I finish? Can I finish?
It's not a good idea, but go ahead.
And then the ones we don't get to on air, we go in the thread, you and I, and answer them in the thread. That way, so the people that aren't paying don't get to read all of or get our answers. They don't get to hear all of our answers. You have to go pay for it, that whole dollar. But we don't want somebody to ask a question that just doesn't get answered. So we can go in there and answer the questions. But answering 45 that people don't do that. So I'm just spitballing.
It's a good idea, but that would require you having to go in there and answer questions, though.
I told you it was a good idea, and you didn't let me finish. I'll go in there and do it.
Right.
These are my people, Aslan.
Okay.
These are my people.
All right. Okay. I'm with you. Gator Kirk, what has been the most impressive thing you have witnessed at fall camp?
Oh, that could be so many things. You answer first.
Talk about the offense that day. Give people good
no, I will say Johnny Wilson's ability in the back of the end zone.
Okay.
Is the most impressive thing I've witnessed in fall camp, to the point where I would be very surprised if he does not lead the ACC in touchdown catches.
Okay.
There you go. I said it.
There was like a 3-day stretch where Keyshawn Helton caught a diving pass every day. That was impressive. That was the most impressive thing for me. Okay, now I'm not saying Keyshawn's gonna bust that out against LSU and Clemson and Miami, but for him to do that 3 days in a row, that's it's not the 56-game hit streak for Joe D, but it's a pretty good stretch there.
Yeah. Kind of crazy that he won the MVP that year over Ted Williams. Ted Williams won the Triple Crown. But, a little hitting streak. I got a single on Wednesday, and then I got 2 doubles on Thursday. I guess I should win the MVP. Anyway.
Spoiled by 2013. Hello, I've been
That's a good name. That's a good name.
Let's see what his avatar. I think his avatar is Kelvin's. It's kind of blurry, but I think it's Kelvin's first touchdown against Clemson in 13.
Great catch.
Absolutely.
Maybe his best ever. You know what? I told you I was watching the replay of that game. I forgot he had another catch in that game that didn't count because I think they got to delay a game. It was like 3rd and 15 on their own 5. And this was when it was still a game. It was like 17-7. And Jameis just throws it up to Kelvin, like 25 yards downfield between 2 guys. And he goes up over both of them and snatches it. But it didn't count because it was a delay a game because, you got to get one of those a game. But anyway, that was an incredible catch. That guy was good, Aslan. That guy was good.
He was. Spoiled by 2013. Hello, I've been a listener since 2019. Thanks to the dollar promotion, I took the plunge. I was at FSU from 2013 to 2017, hence the username Spoiled by 2013.
Ooh, that's a tough way to get in there and it's always going to be like this. Yeah. And then by the time you're graduating, yeah.
Grew up in Fort Lauderdale. The Bosa brothers are from there. 2019, I moved to Dallas, Texas, and I joke that I followed Jimbo to Texas, especially since I soon after married an Aggie, Texas A&M alumna.
I thought you've read this already.
I cut it out because I tried to package it with another question, but then I was like, these actually are different questions. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, though, Corey. She does pay. You do listen. That's great.
I do, yeah.
She's a huge college football fan. We were lucky enough to score tickets to the A&M Bama game. Incredible experience watching Jimbo upset Saban at the massive Kyle Field. impressive environment, which leads to my question. When I was a student at FSU, I feel that Doak had plenty of games that could have rivaled that experience. I will always remember the crowd chanting, "We want Bama," after beating Miami in 13. However, from what I've heard, and reasonably so, I don't think Doak has had a competitive atmosphere for a few years, other than maybe last year's Notre Dame game. Here really is my question. In y'all's opinion, you can see he went from Fort Lauderdale, Texas, pulls out the y'all now. In y'all's opinion, what will be the next sold-out game at Florida State, or maybe even the next few that my wife and I could try to make it to these next couple of years? Go Noles, spend that dollar at warchant.com.
I mean, I think Clemson is a good chance of that happening.
Yeah.
This year. Florida, the day after Thanksgiving. I don't want to take you away from Texas and the family for Thanksgiving, but I think that's a good one. It's always going to be those two. And that is the problem of playing in the ACC, is that it's just hard to get, even when you're losing to these teams, it's hard to get excited about Louisville coming to town, or Wake, or Syracuse. I mean, again, it's not like Florida State's been crushing these teams lately, or beating them at all in some cases, but you're still not going to, it's not going to be a crowd like A&M Alabama, man. Just not. But Florida State, Clemson. I would also say the Miami game last year, especially the whole sequence of Ja'Kai making that catch to Parchment, the 4th and 14, to finally getting into the end zone, and then what Miami have 3 plays there at the end? That was really, really loud. That was like a old-time atmosphere. The place was going nuts. They were really into it. So it still has its moments, but yeah, man, it's hard to predict sellouts until they start winning games. Trust me, if they're what would they have to be? 5-1, 5-1, 6-0. They won't be 6-0, but if they're 5-1 or 4-2 hosting Clemson, that'll be a big night. It'll probably be a night game, at least 3:30. That place will be very, very loud, and it should be completely sold out. And Clemson, unlike anybody else in the conference, their fans actually travel, so they will sell their allotment of tickets out too.
Or 2025, week 1, might be actually week 0 that year. Alabama comes to Tallahassee.
Who do they play? Aslan, I was going to ask you, do you know who do they play next year to open the season? Do we know that yet?
LSU.
Oh, that's right. So they don't have a week 0 game. So do we know who their other non-conference game is for next year?
Yeah, Southern Miss and North Alabama.
But they don't play North Alabama to start the year?
No, that's week before Florida game.
Oh, okay. All right. So they start with so they're back to starting with, I mean, what are y'all doing? Anyway, well, go ahead.
But yeah, maybe 24 Florida game finale for a spot in the college football playoff on the line.
Yeah, but they'll be so good that year. Obviously, that Clemson game will be sold out too, Aslan.
That's true. That's true. All right, last one, Winter Haven, Noel. I'll get right to my question. In the past, the Noles have had trouble covering tight ends. They always seem to be running free over the middle. Is this much improved linebacker group going to tighten up and be better in coverage? Guys, I love the work the entire Warchant staff puts out. I don't begin a day without Wake Up Warchant.
Oh, there we go. That's nice. We don't either. We don't finish a night.
He didn't like our Dion takes, though. He was very upset about our Dion takes the other day. But look at that. He came back and still posted and gave us a compliment. So God bless him.
Yeah, I told you I got in that thread when somebody disagreed with me. But, you know, it was cordial. As long as it's cordial, I'll be cordial back. But if our man goes 4-8 or 5-7, I'm just saying what a fact is. But I certainly am not rooting for it.
We held Will Mallory in check, I think, right, from Miami. I don't feel like I don't remember tight ends eating our lunch in recent memory.
I was trying to think, like even the kid at Notre Dame. I know he had the big long touchdown.
The first catch of the game, I think, wasn't it him, like a big Michael Mayer?
Well, it was a 4th down where he ran wide open for a touchdown, and he dropped another big one in the middle of the field that would have been a huge play for them when the comeback was happening. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't remember tight ends killing them. Oh, whoops. Sorry. I don't remember tight ends killing them necessarily. But, yeah, I mean, I would say this. That's why tight ends, everybody loves the 6'5", 250 guys that can run because they are matchup problems for everyone. Now, with Mickey's defense, it was the one thing that he was pretty susceptible. They were pretty susceptible to was a good tight end. But aren't most defenses? Like, it's hard to ask linebackers to cover Brock Bowers or Travis Kelce or
Rob Gronkowski or Travis Kelce or Darren Waller,
Antonio Gates. back in the day.
There we go.
Tony Gonzalez. Like those guys are matchup nightmares because they're as fast as linebackers but bigger. They're huge frames. Some of them are faster than linebackers. Some of them are as fast. The Brock Bowers kid is one of the fastest kids on the field, in any field he's on, and he's 240 pounds. So, that's the middle of the field can be exploited with a very good tight end and a quarterback that can get him the ball. And no matter how good you are at defense, that's going to happen. It's just going to happen. You can't take away everything. In the middle of the field is always going to be tough for defenses. That said, to answer the question, I guess a good tight end, Tatum Bethune is not going to cover a good tight end, right?
I love
But
that.
who does?
So after all, I guess. Yeah, you're right.
It's just a NFL first or second round pick at tight end. It's going to be hard to cover those guys. The average-ish tight ends, they should cover, and they have covered them pretty well because Lord knows Florida State's got some of those. They've covered those guys pretty well so far in fall camp. Like they haven't been getting torched by tight ends. But yeah, they're going to give up some plays to tight ends because they do. I think DeLoach is pretty good in coverage. Lundy is faster, more maneuverable, but I still wouldn't say that's a strength of his by any stretch. And then Gaynor, we'll see. We'll see what just because he's so long and he can run well, he should be better in coverage than maybe he's proven to be, but he also isn't asked. I don't feel like he's asked to do that a ton.
LSU's got some guys. I don't know how.
At least not with the linebacker or with the tight end. Maybe he's has to cover guys in the flat more.
Yeah. All right, that's it. We did it. We got to everybody's question. Maybe we'll do Corey's suggestion moving forward. It was a good suggestion. I apologize, Corey. I apologize. You're right.
Yeah, I couldn't get a word. You see how it is, folks? That was a production meeting that we lifted the veil. And you see how it is. I make suggestions. I can't even get through my suggestions.
Well, I thought you were going to say, if it's repetitive, and it's like, well, even if they are repetitive, sometimes, people like to hear their name called. It's like, at school, the announcements. Like, you want to hear your name called over the announcement. You want to hear Winter Haven Nole. He doesn't want to just see us type a.
Reminds me.
They really want our opinion. I don't think they really want our opinion. They just want to hear their name on the very popular podcast. They just want to hear it echoing across the country.
There's probably some of that. But I was going to say, though, the most trouble I ever got in high school was they let us do the morning announcements to try to sell the yearbook because I was on the yearbook staff. Nice. So I was the senior, so it was me and my other buddy. And we were trying to, hey, everybody, we didn't do the morning announcements, but they let us speak for 30 seconds as like an advertisement. And now from the yearbook staff, Corey Clark, and so I start talking, and we're like, "Hey, by the way, get your Mustaños. It's gonna be the.
Excuse me, Mustaños?
I think Mustaño might be Mustang in Spanish.
Oh,
I think.
Okay.
But yeah, they were called Mustaño. We were called the Mustaño. That was the name of our year. Every yearbook has a name,
right?
Like ours was the Mustaño. Okay. So yeah, I said it was going to be. The most action-packed, the most pages, and the sexiest yearbook in Meadow Creek history.
Ooh, Corey Clark.
As a joke, because it wasn't, trust me. But my teacher, because I'd run it by our teacher earlier that week that I was going to say it, and she laughed, but said, no, you can't say that. And then I did say it, and she was not happy with me because I'm sure she heard from the principal about how did you have those two idiots come here and say they're going to have a sexy yearbook. But we did. It might even been like we might used to do those on video too. Like I know they all do them on video now, but we're talking the early '90s or mid '90s, folks. Yeah. I think I was on camera doing it too. But yeah, there you go. Little hint to. I didn't get attention though, Aslan. If that's what you're asking, she liked me too much for that.
By the way, Jordan Travis broke the rock to end practice, to end preseason camp on Saturday. So
that's a good sign, right?
Yeah.
It's your team now. It is your team. Yeah, exactly right. You're the captain now, Jordan. You're the captain now. Nobody's coming in to take your spot. So just go be the leader for the next 12 games.
All right, that's a wrap for us. But we've made it to football season. We have so much content, everybody. Now that you're done with the show, go to the website. There should be a press conference. I think noonish. Like we're in game
somewhere
week.
around there.
Yeah, we're like in game week.
Yeah, and I'll be doing the transcription like I always do since I'm still up here for another day. Also, we have the offense and the defensive roundtables where it's not just our opinions, it's everybody's opinions. That's on the website where you're getting it's 5 questions that we're each answering about what we're most excited for, what gives us pause, all those things. They're all on the website. And again, you can go read them all for $1. Well, no. you can read that and then everything else for the next 364 days for $1.
Yeah, look at that. 1 to 3 o'clock, Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 FM, as well as Warchant TV, which is our YouTube channel, which hit the thumbs up if you're listening to us on that. Subscribe to that after you're done giving us your $1. And then In the Coop, a weekly show with Robert Cooper and a surprise guest with him, a teammate, that will launch and debut at 7:30 on Monday night. And then we give you a podcast, and then there's headlines on Tuesday, and then just practice is back, and we'll get
keeps going.
Just
keeps going, folks.
We made it, everybody. Thanks for hanging out all off season. It's football season. Tell your friends. Tell them to subscribe. Tell them to get back on the Wake Up Warchant podcast. We're ready to go. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thank you for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.